I'm a bad mood, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep him out of sight. Talking about my life, government, stay away. If you drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. Mama to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey y'all, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel. Oh my goodness, what a day. What a week. I hope everybody has decompressed a little bit from Sarah Boone. Because we are not going to talk about her in this stream. However, we have more to talk about. Hey Flash fan, thanks for being here and doing all your Modly stuff. I appreciate it. Penny, good afternoon. Heather, I am glad you are here. Debbie, as always. Oh, Tim, following me around again. I'm just kidding. Hey, Roland, how are you? So, first things first, I will get a little Sarah Boone stuff out of the way. Tomorrow, I am going to be reading over all of the divorce letters from jail, the ones I gave you a little preview about during the trial. But we also have an interview with George's ex-wife and I think a couple more of his family members. I have to find the link. It's in my stream with Flash Fan, and I have to go search for it. Also, there was a couple people who mentioned that Sarah Boone was getting her lines out of a book. Some of the things she mentioned in her testimony. Well, I have that book. So I will be doing a couple members only things where I read part of the book and then we kind of talk about it. Hey, have fun at work. I mean, this is my work. Yeah. So I just got it yesterday. It's used, so it's not in the, greatest of conditions, and there's some underlined passages and things like that. But I've read a couple pages and it's already kind of interesting. So I'll probably do a couple members only things where we talk about the where we read it, and I'll read you a couple passages of it and kind of see if it's truly, because like I believe when people tell me that that's where she got her lines, but at the same time, like I believe it more when I read it myself. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll do a couple members only posts because I don't want to get any sort of like this any sort of violation by reading it out loud or talking about some of the content in this on my channel and accidentally saying something that I shouldn't. So it'll be members only stuff. However, today is Carly Gregg. Oh, Carly. For those of you who are unaware, Carly Gregg was a 14-year-old in Mississippi who was convicted in September of unaliving her mother, Ashley Smylie, and attempting to unalive her stepfather. She was 15 at the time of the trial. Her lawyers were a DUI attorney and a personal injury attorney. Had never tried a murder case. Yeah. Thank you. Copyright. It's a day. Baby Squid is sleeping right now, so if you hear screaming, she wakes up. She always wakes up crying lately. I wonder if she's having nightmares. I can't figure it out. In the middle of the night, she doesn't wake up crying. She just wakes up and comes into our room. But in the middle of the day, when she wakes up, she screams. So, yeah, there's that. But she's only been down for about 20 minutes, so hopefully she stays asleep for at least an hour. trying to go for an hour to an hour and a half naps. Sometimes it works, and other times, y'all who are parents out there, you understand. It's best of intentions don't always work out. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. YouTube doesn't like to give notifications for me anymore. So today we are covering Carly Gregg's motion for a new trial. We read through it we read through a lot of bull crap on the last one, and I'm not reading all that stuff again. Basically, her attorneys say that she didn't get a jury of her peers because she is 15 and her peers or her jury was all adults, even though you can't be 21. So she was using some BS. She was using some BS. You know, you know. And there's an article too that we'll read through before we go through the motions. And then we have the interview with Carly Gregg's biological father, who was nowhere to be found during the trial. I guess he had been subpoenaed, but they couldn't find him. Just, hey, Christine, how are you? Cynthia, do I have the ruling? Yeah, I think so. I have everything you sent me. So I'm just going. Flash fan, you're my source of information for these. You let me know when new things are posted and all of that. I'm horrible with it. Horrible. So first thing we'll get into is the Carly Gregg motion for a new trial article. And then we have the actual motions to read. They're 2 pages, 1 to 2 pages a piece. Hey, Roy. Ooh, grocery delivery. Always a good day. An expensive day, but a good day. All right. Carly Madison Gregg, motion for a new trial denied. Defense appeals verdict to Mississippi Supreme Court because, they can't just leave shit as it is. Yep, I got them. I got one of them pulled up. The new trial for new trial motion. And for some reason, I cannot drink enough water today. I don't know why. I am so thirsty. Hey, Tamara. The good one. The good one. Oh, I am so sorry you share your name with a less than desirable person. So I met with Musi again yesterday, and for some reason today I feel like this not enlightened is the wrong word for it, but I feel very like a weight's been lifted off. Hey Lucas, how are you? Yeah, water is perfect. It's good, but when you feel like you drank a gallon of water already today and it's only 2:30. Oy. All right, we're going to get into this. This is from the Mississippi Clarion Ledger. And this is in Rankin County, Mississippi. So Mississippi don't play when it comes to unaliving people, especially when it's on video. A Rankin County judge denied Carly Madison Gregg's motion for a new trial days after defense attorneys for Gregg appealed the case to a Mississippi Supreme Court. Kevin Camp, one of Gregg's defense attorneys, filed a notice of appeal on Friday in Rankin County Circuit Court. Camp said the defense is appealing the verdict in Gregg's case. Camp's filing comes nearly a month after a jury sentenced Gregg to life in prison without parole after finding her guilty of unaliving her 40-year-old mother, Ashley Smylie, and attempting to murder her 39-year-old stepfather, Keith Smylie, and tampering with evidence because she put the she put the camera that's in the kitchen in the refrigerator. Like they wouldn't find it. But Oy, oy, oy. The offense occurred March 19th at the family's Brandon home when Gregg was 14 years old. She's now 15. So this is the um, motion for a new trial. This is the one I have, and we'll read that. Last month, defense attorney Bridgett Todd filed a motion on September 26th asking Rankin County Circuit Court Judge Dewey Arthur, one of my favorite judges in the entire world. He is the one who, if you've seen, I think it was Megan, or it might have been Vice's. Somebody has in their intro video where a judge is like, everybody forgets that the jury is the most important people in the room. That's this judge. If you've ever seen that video, hey Musi, how are you? I'm doing all right. Yeah, they're appealing on grounds that she didn't get a fair trial because she's 15 and all of her jury members were over 21. I just make it make sense. Broken Baker. Okay. I knew somebody had it in their intro video, but like it's Baker. Hey Island, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, Baker, and the judge that Baker has in his intro video. I apologize, Baker. I forgot it was yours. I knew it was somebody's. And that proves that I watch his stuff though, because I knew somebody had it. That's this judge. And this is also the attorneys that dressed their client like a toddler or like a Catholic schoolgirl in all of her pretrial hearings. We watched all the hearings going back to, I want to say, late July. Oy. Last month, defense attorney Bridgett Todd filed a motion on September 26th asking Rankin County Circuit Court Judge Dewey Arthur to overrule the jury's verdict and order a new trial. Todd argued, quote, new evidence and material had been discovered that could, quote, produce a different result in a new trial. She's full of it. I understand that she has to do everything she can, but this is truly grasping at straws, like truly. Quote, Carly did not receive a fair and impartial trial, Todd wrote in the filing. In a October 7th response, Rankin County Assistant District Attorney Catherine Newman argued the defense's motion fails to comply with Mississippi Rule of Criminal Procedures because it, quote, fails to state the specific factual grounds and specific legal authority in support of the allegations. We read through it on this page, on this channel, or at least we tried to read through it. It was organized very oddly, and it also had no citations, no case law, no nothing. No nothing. Right, I think it's their way of saying she shouldn't have been tried as an adult, and it's unfair to try her as an adult, even though commit adult crimes, pay adult prices. Like, I think of juvenile court and juvenile crimes as like vandalism, breaking into cars, things like that. Stupid kids do stupid things, but like unaliving someone or even being accused of unaliving someone, whether you did it or not, is that's a very adult action to take. Yeah, it's a very adult action to take for a temporary problem. Newman said of the jury got the verdict correct, and there were, quote, no errors by the court that adversely affected the defendant. The defense attorney, Bridgett, even lied in her motion, saying the judge never ruled on their side, even though he did rule against the prosecution at least once, because there was no case law supporting any of it. And his words were something in the line of, not an exact quote, but please appeal this because now there's no case law. Please appeal it so we have case law going forward. Like, he basically said, I don't know what to do. I don't think I'm making the right decision, but here. So to make it appeal proof. Hey, Uncle Buck. Ugh. Yeah, and Flash fan, I got your stuff on the Colin Griffith case and the Mia Bailey case, or Colin Bailey. Oi. So, what we know, Carly Gregg sentenced to life after being found guilty on all charges in a murder case. Jury took less than an hour to deliberate. So, they took less than an hour. Sarah Boone took an hour and 26 minutes. You know, not liking the outcome of a trial is not grounds for a new trial, Newman wrote in the prosecution's filing. Arthur denied the motion for a new trial on Monday, October 21st, saying no new material has been discovered that would probably produce a different result of Gregg's trial. The jury's verdict, and we'll read his stuff. The jury's verdict are not contrary to law or the weight of the evidence. Defendant's trial strategy was to concede the commission of the crime in the face of video evidence of the crime. Eyewitness testimony, statements against the interest made by the defendant, I'm assuming, and evidence of gunshot residue and ballistic evidence. Defendant chose to present the affirmative defense of insanity. The jury heard multiple witnesses regarding the defendant's mental state and the defendant's expert witness, who was not hired until after the discovery deadline passed. There's what flea bites don't mean shit, Lucas. Yes, good. And everybody go subscribe to DK Lucas, because the fleas and the thunder cows tried to get him too. Hey, Uncle Frank, I hope you're in a good mood. And I can't wait. I can't wait till next week for you. A jury found the defendant was not insane at the time of the crime, Arthur wrote in his order. So getting to that, there's the... This is the one I didn't have open. There we go. Share this tab instead. Yay! I'm starting to get better at this, or get quicker anyway. This is just the 18th day of October, when Kevin Camp, the DUI attorney, filed his motion for a new trial, or his appeal for the first-degree murder, attempted murder, and tampering with evidence. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I understand that they have to do what they have to do as defense attorneys, but at the same time, there's a line of, like, not ethics, because it's not unethical to file this motion, but it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall to see what sticks. It's just you're grasping at straws, however you want to put it. It's just weird. Oh no. Oh no, what happened? So this is the actual motion denying the motion for new trial. Oh my goodness. And I love Judge Arthur. He's by far my favorite. He is by far my favorite, I have to say. I think so. Just a few minutes ago, I think you might have. Oh, look. I have the video of her father's interview that we're going to watch after I read through this. And this is only 2 pages. I like this because he is straight to the point. He is no nonsense, no BS. If it only takes a page or 2 to write, he only writes a page or 2. Yes, fair and straight to the point. That's what I like in a judge. Fair, hates everybody equally, because he got annoyed with the defense, but he also got kind of annoyed with the prosecution as well. And he treated them equally. So yes, Sarah Cranick was good with Cranick handled Sarah about as well as anybody can handle Sarah. I feel like he could have been a little harder on Owen, but at the same time, Yep. All right. Order denying motion for new trial or JNOV, which I still can't remember. I looked it up. Judgment notwithstanding the verdict. Before the court is the defendant's motion for a new trial, or in the alternative, judgment notwithstanding the verdict. After considering the motion, the state's response, and all of the evidence, the court finds the motion must be denied. The court specifically finds that no new and material has been discovered, which probably would produce a different result at trial, and by reasonable diligence, this evidence could not have been discovered sooner. Defendant points to alleged statements made by Kevin Gregg. The court reviewed the statements and finds these statements would not have probably produced a different result at trial. Reasonable diligence could have been discovered by any statement by the defendant's father, Kevin Gregg. The only evidence excluded entirely by the court was Vicky Breland and James Daniel Floyd. The adversarial process cannot function effectively without adherence to rules of procedure that govern the orderly presentation of facts and arguments to give each party a fair opportunity to assemble and submit evidence to contradict or explain the opponent's case. Neither party may unilaterally control the discovery process. Discovery, like cross-examination, reduces the risk that a judgment will be based on incomplete, misleading, or even fabricated testimony. Both witnesses were closely associated with the defendant, maternal grandmother, and maternal uncle. The court instructed the defendant to provide reciprocal discovery on not less than 3 separate occasions. On the date of the pretrial conference, no substance of these witnesses' testimony was provided. When the court asked for the substance of the testimony, the defendant argued that it would prejudice her case before the jury to provide this information. The court allowed the defendant to present a significant amount of testimony that was not turned over promptly. He did let in a lot of stuff that, if you were to follow the rules to the letter of the law, it wouldn't have been in. DK Lucas, can you send me your link on Twitter or in Discord if you have it, and I'll post it? I did actually, hold on. After I get done reading this, I'll do it. The court found and believed that most, if not all, of the reciprocal discovery was not properly turned over to obtain a tactical advantage. However, letting a defendant tell the court that it may prejudice her case before the jury to provide the substance of the witness's testimony is a bridge too far. Trial by ambush must remain in the grave. The jury's verdicts are not contrary to law or the weight of the evidence. Defendant's trial strategy was to concede the commission of the crime in the face of video evidence of the crime, eyewitness testimony, statements against interests made by the defendant, DNA evidence, evidence of gunshot residue, and ballistics evidence. Defendant chose to present the affirmative defense of insanity. The jury heard multiple witnesses regarding the defendant's mental state and the defendant's expert witness, who was not hired until after the discovery deadline passed. The jury found that the defendant was not insane at the time of the crime. It is therefore ordered and adjudged that the defendant's motion for a new trial, or in the alternative, judgment notwithstanding the verdict, is denied. So ordered and adjudged the 21st day of October 24. Dewey Arthur. I like him. I really like him. So, denied, sit down. Like, denied, sit down. Like, just, you're not getting it. Stop. I think their appeal is going to be denied too. However, that may take some time before we actually get there. This, however, is her biological father. Yeah, I'm torn. I really am, but at the same time, like, dude, at 14, you should know that murder is illegal. What I have a problem with, and y'all can debate me on this, um, I'm not really it's a difficult subject, so I appreciate different opinions on it. But at 14, you know right from wrong. At 14, you know that unaliving somebody is wrong. I also feel that teenagers who I also feel like teenagers who go out and premeditatively unalive somebody believe that they'll be charged as a minor and they'll be out in like 2 years when they turn 18. That's where it's kind of like, eh, because I feel like some kids do these things because they think they'll be tried as children. And if they're tried as children, they'll be out in when they're 18. So I kind of see both sides. What I don't really agree with is her being in solitary because she's a kid in an adult prison. I feel like she needs to be in a juvenile facility until she turns 18 because in jail or not, being in solitary confinement can F with your can definitely mess with your psyche. Whether you think you're already insane or you're the most normal person on earth, being in solitary will screw with anybody's head. Because that's the whole point of solitary is to screw with your head. So if I have an issue with her being in solitary until she's 18. I think she should be in a juvenile facility, a highly restricted juvenile facility, not like, someone who just did some stupid like vandalism or anything. Hey, Mr. Coop, how are you? Yeah, she did turn down a 40-year plea deal. I mean, yeah. And Zach, yes, I did work out. We did 3 rounds of a 500-meter row and 50 box step ups. Played with the little for a little bit, tossed the ball around, and then did some accessory work for shoulders and chest. So I did something. And then tonight I'm gonna do what I did last night. Since I'm not streaming at night, I really want to watch Megan and Tug stream tonight. I'm gonna be walking/jogging the whole time. And Zach, this is my sweets for the day. I took one of baby squid's um fruit snacks. So I mean, it's still bad for you, but if I'm gonna eat crappy food, at least I bought organic crappy food. You know, I have no Pop Tarts in this house. That was just a joke, for Sarah Boone. Um, I appreciate it. I really do. Hey, John, we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We are at like 883. The last time I checked. I think I will continue to do night court, maybe like after the election, maybe like Thursday nights or even Wednesday nights. Um, I think we might go through a couple old trials. There are a couple trials that I've been asked if I'm going to cover, and I'm not going to touch them. I really want to cover the Georgia school shooting, but at the same time, I don't want to cover any Georgia trials because, you know, you know. Um, I don't. I have a Facebook page, but it is my personal Facebook page. I do have an Instagram though. So there's that. Um, yes, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We are gonna watch this Kevin Gregg interview. This is her toenail fungus is gross. Ask me how I know. Um, if I do an old trial. It'll probably be 1 day a week, like kind of like Vice's did, where he did like Thursdays were OJ days. It'll kind of be like that, but it'll be at night. And also I kind of enjoyed the rewatch trials. So like Sarah Boone, we did at night. We were the stream. I jokingly said it was the stream for people who don't have the patience or the time to sit through all of that during the day. You know, they got work, they got lives. Night Court. So they made a new version of Night Court with some of the same actors on Peacock. Is that still going, or did they cancel that? Because all these remakes aren't as good. The Night Court, or the show that they really need to remake, is Cheers. 20 people need to hit that thumbs up. We are at, how many likes are we at? 25 likes. So, hey, we're there. Oh. Well, have a good day. I appreciate you being here while you could. So let's get to this Kevin Gregg interview. Because this is the first time. I haven't watched this whole thing. Just glad to get out of the claustrophobic suitcase. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't remake Matlock, but I know they remade MacGyver, which wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either. So we are going to go like this.
All right, well, we'll just talk like normal, and we'll just get started. Okay, so just start off by telling us, you know, about Carly growing up as a child. What was she like growing up around you?
I thought she was the easiest child. You know, I heard that parenting was hard. She was the easiest child that was like doing nothing. You know, we had really enjoyed ourselves, and she was a wonderful child, and she was obviously multi-talented, gifted. You know, we loved each other. We loved that girl.
Okay. So in terms of Ashley, I know we heard in court that you all were going through custody battles. Just take us through some of that. You know, as Carly got older, I know you guys split.
Yeah. We were married in 2025. We met in 2024 at work. In Oxford, Mississippi.
Did anybody catch that? Did he mean 2004? Or because he said 2025. 2025 hasn't happened yet. Is he a time traveler and just didn't tell us? And this is with the local news. So it's not going to be like, you know, 60 minutes worthy.
We were married, and we lived in Oxford in 2025. We moved to Nashville in 2026. We moved back to, well, we decided to, out of love, we wanted to have a child. So we made a decision to stop not trying to. And we got pregnant with Carly, and then we decided to want to be close to family like we were, you know, with our grandparents. That was my logic. And so we moved back to Mississippi. We lived in Columbus until 2012. Well, she separated.
Yeah, yes. Something is definitely off. Like, off. Drive safe, Island. Good to see you. It's just like I can't put my finger on exactly what's off, but it is just off. And let me put up my my famous squid logo so we can't see the there we go. It's just something is just not right. And they say he does have mental health issues, so we will see. And he was on drugs. But I'm thinking he meant 2005 and 6, and I'm just hoping he's nervous being interviewed for TV. Yeah. Yeah, the fact that no one's catching, they didn't correct him, and he didn't catch it himself. That's kind of weird.
Rated for me in 2012. December 2012.
There we go.
Left 18-wheeler tracks in my front yard.
Okay, so once you guys separated, what was it like parenting Carly then?
Oh, then it became extremely difficult, and then my stress and everything started. And I was perpetually attacked in court to fight, to destroy my custody or diminish my capacity as my authority as having joint legal custody with Harley. And so I can imagine. I mean, if you want my opinion, I think that strained Carly quite a bit, like it does a lot of child, like it does a lot of children who's when one parent decides to try and turn the other one, against the other. And, I mean, there's laws against that, but people do it anyway. I mean, that's just common.
And growing up seeing Carly, did she ever show any signs of mental illness?
Oh, I mean, elevated energy. I mean, that's childlike, having to tell her to slow down when she ramps up. I'm the same way.
And speaking of you, they talked a lot about your mental state.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I think he was either, I mean, I can see why he would be super nervous. And when my anxiety kicks in, I see stuff where I'm like, I watch it back and I'm like, how did I not correct myself? Yeah, I definitely stumble on my words sometimes. So if the spotlight is on you and everybody wants to talk to you, even there's the $1 million question. Hey Dion, how are you? I don't know if he's high, but there's definitely something off. So I was gonna say he had mental health issues according to the court, but sounds like we're gonna get into that.
Do you suffer from any mental illness?
Hang on a second. No, I'm not gonna make a joke. I mean, I was gonna say something like, well, I don't know. Today I'm on OxyClean and sheetrock. What are y'all snorting?
I mean, funny, but who makes a joke about that?
That's how cynical I got watching 40 hours of me being having my character just defamed. With collateral damage.
Yeah, this is her
My daughter being
biological father.
just sad.
Yeah, and they brought up allegations of abuse, drug use. What do you say to that?
Me. There was absolutely no abuse, none physical, none mental. I believe, and my family, and we spoke to attorneys, and there's court records and documentation that this was playing opposites, basically. She was keeping me in year 7, year 8, Carly's life. She was in Warren County, living in Bovina, Mississippi, in a small A-frame up a hill alone in an isolated area away from civilization. Anyway, she wouldn't let me see Carly because we had an incident, and she took me to justice court. Well, there was no incident the first time. She took me to justice court over text messages claiming that I was threatening her when I was asking her about Carly's health situation because she had to take her to the hospital, and I had jointly.
And I've heard a lot of, I don't entirely not believe him, because I have heard a lot of women, specifically women, bringing men to family court and about saying they were threatened when it's like, don't tell, when someone texts you like, don't tell me not to do that. That's not a threat. But I've seen a lot of women take men, personal knowledge of women taking men to court. Not me, I mind you. but to get like restraining orders and stuff like that because of incidents that never actually happened.
Legal custody. And I love my daughter. So that's how it started. And it started with, as far as abuse, there was absolutely none. As far as, I don't know, get specific and I'll answer your question on this because there were so many. I couldn't keep up.
Well, I mean, they talked about you being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Have you been
Yes, and I do agree with that diagnosis to a great extent. I believe that I am bipolar 3.
And have you been diagnosed with it by a doctor?
I have been previously diagnosed by physicians with bipolar multiple times, and I agree.
Okay.
That would explain the nervousness and the fidgeting. Like I do that too. I'm not bipolar, but I, being yeah. One day you're like, this really sucks. And the next day you're like, I love being bipolar. Let's go run a marathon. That's how, like, I have bipolar depression. So I'm not technically bipolar, but my depressive symptoms are like there. And then I get in these like, let's go. Yeah. And I do have the issue with him not coming forward earlier, especially when he was subpoenaed and they couldn't find him, couldn't track him down. He was the first version of DJ Radis, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. And yeah, Cynthia, that explains it. It's 2024. There is no such thing as personal responsibility. How dare you even bring that up? That is insulting. No one can take personal responsibility for anything they say or do. They just lie about it and blame it on somebody else. Sounds familiar, huh?
What was March the 19th like for you when you found out what happened?
I was sitting at home alone, chilling and at peace, which was not usual because I hadn't seen Carly since October or September of 2022. And we had never fought. And then all of a sudden we got in an argument. Her mother had always been trying to tell her mother, hey, tell your dad that you want to control the visitation. You want to call him when you want to see him, because she just wanted to remove me out of her situation because she hated me intensely. Anyway,
yeah, Mr. Coop. Sorry, guys, I didn't know the background of this. I read an article on it. Man, to unalive your mom is hardcore. Yeah, I did. There's a Carly Gregg playlist that goes back, if you are interested in it, that goes back all the way to her July hearings, pretrial hearings, and I covered the trial. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yes, seriously, if you're bipolar, please medicate properly for your sake and those around you. My uncle, who worked with for 12 years, is bipolar. It was an experience. Yes, and not even bipolar. If you are prescribed medication by a doctor, either take the medication as prescribed, or if you don't feel like you need it, discuss it with your providers. Don't just stop taking it or not take it because you don't want to. Because I get in that too. Like, you take medication for depression and you're like, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine. And then you stop taking it because you're like, I'm fine. I don't need it. And it turns out you're not fine. You're not fine. So just take this with a grain of salt. But if you were prescribed medication, either take it or discuss with your provider why you don't want to take it and see if there are alternatives. Don't not take it. Tell everybody you're not taking it and then hide behind then use it as an excuse for crappy behavior. Just like, I'm going to go with this right here. Yeah, Carly was on, can't remember what she was on first. It's been a month since I've thought about it, but she was on something first and then Lexapro. So they changed her medications right around the time that this happened too. And if I were her defense team, not a lawyer, so take this with a giant grain of salt, I would not have gone through for the insanity defense. I would have put the blame on doctors who prescribed medications and the side effects of the medications. So not necessarily the insanity defense, but yeah. Yeah, and this is only his side of the story. We don't truly have Ashley's side of the story. We have Heath's, but he's always going to take up for his wife. Heath is her stepfather, the one she attempted to unalive and um, put a freedom seed through his shoulder. Which, it seems like, oh, he was only shot in the shoulder. But look at the proximity of your shoulder. And he said he was hit in the upper trap because he's a PTA. So your upper trap is here. So think about how close your upper trap is to your head. So he goes, oh, I was only shot in the shoulder. Just inches from unaliving both sides or both of her guardians in the house. And this is only his side of the story. So we don't know truly if she put Carly against her dad. We don't know. We only know his side of the story. There's always 3 sides of the story: mom's side, dad's side, and the truth. And we'll never truly know the truth.
So let's see what year. I didn't see her 20. I didn't see her. I finally after years and years of that, I said, okay, Carly, I don't trust your mother, but you're getting pretty old. You're like what, 12 years old. You want control of the visitation. Okay, you call me when you want to see me then. And I gave her that responsibility and that burden because the next call I received from her was in jail. Hey, Dad, hadn't seen you in a year, and it had been in a year and a half.
What was your thoughts though when you heard that Carly had done that to Ashley?
Ashamed, embarrassed, angry, upset, very sad. I loved her too. We were married for almost a decade. I thought she was blessed to have moved from Bovina to Rankin and lived in a nice place, and I felt sorry for Heath because I know, personally, I don't want to say anything bad about Ashley if I don't have to, but I didn't know Heath at all, and I never met him. I just feel sorry for him because I knew I never heard anything bad about Heath from Ashley either. Like the only thing Carly ever said about Heath was that he had no backbone, and
Wait, for those of you who watched the trial, what did I say? He was a beta. He had no backbone. Like yeah. And JKD Bart, my stepdad wasn't horrible, but the way the relationship between him and my mom broke down was not good at all. But Heath, what did I say? Flash fan, he was a beta. It sounded like Ashley even thought he was a beta.
he had no backbone, and he wouldn't stand up to Ashley and would let Ashley run. Like Ashley had all the pants in the thing, and apparently Carly didn't respect that. I don't know what was going down there. Like the reason why I agreed to talk with you guys is I believe y'all want to know that as much as I want to know, and I've been kept in the dark. I don't even know. I don't know about the sentencing yet. I don't know about the parole yet. I don't know how long she's going to be, or if she's in Rankin County Jail right now. I don't have any communication with her right now. Bridgett, Todd shut all that down and made it very cloudy, etc.
Whoa! Wasn't the okay? That phrase right there. Bridgett Todd is Carly's attorney. He said that she shut all communication down, but didn't she want him to testify? And was saying, well, her dad couldn't testify, and the judge wouldn't let her dad. like, for those of you who are familiar with the case, you can correct my details if I'm messing them up. But Bridgett Todd was the one that was like, well, her dad never came into kind of had that attitude about it. Don't quote me on the specifics, like, of exactly how she phrased it, but Bridgett Todd sounds like is getting more shady by the minute.
I don't want to get into family law stuff, but it's more family law attacks on me than anything that's relevant to a murder. And I
So,
agree, fortunately, that my daughter is guilty, very guilty. I agreed when I saw the video evidence on day 2 of like, who are you? I don't even know you. It was devastating.
that's what I was gonna ask. So do you, that was the premise of this case. Was Carly mentally ill so much that she didn't know right from wrong? Do you think Carly was that mentally ill that she did not know what she was doing?
That girl knew right from wrong. That girl is not insane. That was a very dumb defense, if you ask me. But I wasn't involved. Nobody ever called me.
So Bridgett Todd wanted to bring this interview in her motion for a new trial. She brought up this interview as a reason for a new trial. It doesn't sound like that would have gone very well for her if the judge even considered it because of that statement right there. I agree. It was a dumb defense. But Bridgett, in her 40-page motion for a new trial that was really hard to read, it felt like 300 pages. She mentions that in the interview, this interview right here, that he said that she was in therapy for something when she was younger, but she conveniently leaves out the fact that, in his opinion, she knows right from wrong. Convenient how she left that part out.
So why did
In
you?
fact, I have joint legal custody, and I would think that every single psychologist and psychiatrist and medical professional that talked to Carly and had an opinion about her and prescribed her prescription medicine should have spoken with me as well. Don't you agree? That's her father with legal custody.
That I agree with. So I don't exactly know why, even though he had legal custody, she hadn't been there for a year and a half. But but yeah, I mean, my parents were divorced, and even when I went on like an allergy medication, my mom called my dad. As much as I can remember, that neither one of them are in the chat right now, but like when I had an illness, my mom called my dad. Even if it was like when I had a sinus infection and I got diagnosed with the Bactrim, that dang medication had sulfa in it, and all of a sudden I looked about as red as my shirt. She called my dad to let him know that I was on now like 6 different medications to try to get rid of my allergic reaction, so I didn't die. But my parents have been divorced since 1988-ish. Like, I would like to think that most parents would call the other parent to let them know what's happening.
And some people would believe that. Some people would think that since y'all had, if you did actually have joint custody, and I say that like I'm not thinking that you're lying. I'm just saying, if you had joint custody, that you would have been more involved in her case. I mean, now that her mother is deceased.
Her mother was actively, I'm sorry, Kara, her mother was actively keeping, max parental controls, would not allow any of my calls through, would not allow any of my emails through, was being very selective with everything, controlling every situation. And there was no way I could get in. And she drugged me through 4 courts perpetually, attacking me. They said in court that it was me starting the stuff legally. No, it was the opposite. I was always the defendant. Maybe I should have been more proactive. And we did, with counsel, I did consider calling CPS about her mental abuse on Carly at an early age. And she said suicidal ideation when she couldn't see me for a year, between 7 years and 8 years old in Warren County. Had a guardian ad litem during one of her perpetual manipulative court cases against me to fight for my custody, against my custody, or to take my visitation away, restricted or whatever.
Do you think
That's super interesting because at first, like, they made him sound like he was off the rails, drug user, horrible person, can never do anything right, doesn't want to be there. And like, yeah, he might have mental health issues, but like, I kind of believe him, especially because he's taking some of this stuff personally. Like, I Bridgett, I know that the defense or the prosecution wanted him to testify, but I didn't. Bridgett Todd kind of made it sound like he was this like awful, awful, awful person, and it. So she has up nothing to do with him talking to her. I believe that Bridgett Todd was Ashley's attorney in for the reason why she took Carly's case is she was Ashley's attorney. Yeah, in a lot of states, like Wisconsin, for example, is in order for the state to do anything or the courts to do anything about a mother causing problems, you literally had to you literally had to prove that like the mother is completely unfit. It's crazy. Like I wrote a letter to the judge on my friend's behalf because of his ex-wife causing problems. Was his ex-wife is kind of like Amber Heard in the TRO situation. Like I never wanted child support for my boys, just wanted their dads to be there in their lives, and they couldn't even do that. So one of my friends, that this is his second ex-wife. He has a child with his first ex-wife, but she lives in a different state. So he only sees his son with that relationship every other weekend because they live a couple hours away. He has 2 kids with his latest ex-wife, and she only wanted him to have custody every other weekend because that's what you have with your other one. They live 10 minutes apart. And yet she yeah. Most Gen X kids give their parents a pass, but Gen X parents usually raked through the coals by their millennial kids. I can just imagine how bad younger generations can be. Yeah, I'm kind of like stuck in the middle. My mom's technically a boomer, but the tail end of the boomers, and I'm like where Gen X and millennials overlap. And the little is awake. Hold on one second. My father was disappointed that he had a son with vision impairment, so he wasn't there. That sucks, Flash fan. That really sucks. Wait, you're sane? Duncan, Idaho with the 5 gifted memberships. You are awesome. And they went to Dennis Heaton, Sandra Sabin, Becca Lynn, Lynn Britton, and maybe there's a 5th one. Flux. I should text her and be like, now you're forced to have a membership to my channel. Duncan's the best. Duncan, I haven't seen you in a while either, so I'm glad you're here. All right. Hey, Flux, you are here. Welcome to the Squid Squad. You're a member against your will.
Life without parole was not fair, or do you think Carly got the right sentence?
I don't know what's the parole like. I thought that if you were a juvenile, that you obviously have a chance at parole, right?
No, she'll never get out. So how does that make you feel?
I'm still processing it. It's very sad. I mean, I used to see her every day, and we loved each other so much, and then that devastated me. The divorce, it devastated her. Then we had a death in the family. Her younger daughter died when she was young. That's nobody's talking about the dynamic between Ashley and Carly after Natalie died. That's a lot. There's a lot.
And Natalie was a second child, her younger sister, that had a congenital issue and didn't make it very far. Yes, they tried her as an adult at 15. I gotta throw a mocha dickinine on Flux's channel without my consent. I did too. Oh yes, and if you haven't subscribed to Flux, you are missing out. She's amazing. She's awesome. She games, she talks everything with everybody. She's an army vet. She's the shit.
To this, and nobody's asking me a thing until now.
Do you have any other children outside of Natalie and Carly?
No, ma'am.
Mhm.
No, just it was Natalie, who was born June 20th, 2012 in West Point at NMMC, and Carly was born April 23rd, 2009 in OCH here in Starfield.
Mhm. So, in terms of now, Bridgett Todd, that's where I wanted to go with this. How, to your knowledge, how did Bridgett Todd even, get involved in this case?
Well, I had never heard of her. The first time I had contact with her, she sent me 3 text messages. I'll get into that later. I found out in discovery myself because I was watching it on YouTube and learning stuff just as fast as you guys were, and it was blowing my mind too. And I was like, holy crap, she knew Ashley before Ashley died. She was the chancery expert, was going to try to attack me in court, in Warren.
I knew there was a history. I knew there had to be a history. There had to be a history. Roy, I'm not even going to justify that, putting it on the screen. I would eventually like to be up to 1,000 subscribers and have my channel, my streams monetized, and that comment won't get me there. But it is entertaining. But I knew Bridgett Todd had a history. I knew she knew Ashley. There had to be a reason why she is so passionate about this and why she was so easy to talk crap about Carly's father. I knew it.
Warren again, because she had summoned me back to chancery because I had already gotten out of a youth court, the third one, when I had to substitute counsel and get out of expert, because they were just burying me like I was in Rutherford County or something. I mean, I don't know what was going on down there.
Do you think that
I do, but I don't want to talk about it all in detail.
Do you think Bridgett Todd and Kevin Camp gave her adequate representation?
No.
Now this may be my bias because I've never seen a trial, and I sat there and I watched 40 hours of a trial, and I saw it from the prelim to the now, and every tactic that I saw, that's the worst representation I've ever seen so far.
This was filmed before Sarah Boone. So, but there is a fight. Who is the worst set of attorneys? Gregg or Sarah Boone?
On by anybody or anybody.
They're talking about filing an appeal for Carly. Kevin Camp.
I don't think that would help Carly. I don't think anything's going to help Carly unless she wants to use the truth and rehabilitation and remorse, as defense tactics, as opposed to letting the defense, and obviously she was led by everyone around her, and she's so young. Her mother was leading her quite a bit, and they brought that out a little bit in court. Mother's temper and mother controlling the intake, and all the psychologists, how mother was setting the narrative for, and choosing them like Annette Bryant, the first fixer, quote, very experienced counselor in Warren County. where, you know, she didn't know I had joint legal custody. And when crossed by my esquire in court in Warren, she said, no, I did not know that Mr. Gregg had custody. And he said, well, now that you know that, what do you think? She said, I think they should get another therapist.
How? Okay, not to talk ill of the dead at this point, but I think JKD Buck, I think the name was Annette. Like, you know, like a person for a woman's first name is Annette. It's just the closed captioning really calls it. Put ads, yes, put ads in the newspaper and subscribe to Squid. Do it, you know you want to, because you get baby squid sightings, and I think she's asleep. Oh, she's awake. Oh, she's awake. You go say hi. Oh, okay. You sleep. Ugh, but how do you not tell someone? How do you not tell someone, your child's therapist, that their dad's in their life? You would think. I mean, I know that I have a way of an insight to this because I went to school I took a lot of psych classes in school, and I dealt with mental health when I worked at the hospital. But having the knowledge that a father has custody but hasn't seen their dad in a long time, that is important information to know as far as a diagnosis and treatment. Like, I mean, that's vital information in a child's life. Oh, there you go.
Mhm. So, it's a question I have to ask. A lot of people were just very puzzled by Heath Smylie standing by Carly's side. Do you think that anything may have been going on between Heath and Carly?
Gotta do mama stuff for a second.
With the time of them living together or after?
Oh, no. He taught her how to shoot a gun. He bought her a pocket knife. I mean, it sounds like some typical stepdad stuff.
But you don't think anything inappropriate in their relationship was happening?
I got 99 theories, but a fact ain't one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Keith,
99 theories, but a fact ain't one. I might have to take that. That is actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
I guess I want to know.
Oh, Heath. What about Heath?
No, I said Keith. Kevin, I'm sorry, I said the wrong name.
That's all right. I get that all the time. That's all right. Heath, Kevin. I've heard a lot worse. I heard a lot worse this week.
So what is your thoughts? Are you going to try to reconnect with Carly? I
would love to find out exactly what's going on. But it's been a Breland family law evolution ever since Ashley attacked me initially in 2013 for the divorce. They started with the family attorney that was related to her mother, so side of the family. I mean, that's just how it started, and it's just been that way ever since. And what you saw go down was the way I've been treated ever since. The defendant crapped on and without relevance. And there were a couple of partial truths which concerned me in this last trial, which made me talk to my last retained attorney about that custody summit in Warren. And so I was going to go down there and defend my honor and drag through the court to defend my honor, to be her dad, to continue to, try and be an influence positive in her life. Now, yes, previously in my life, I did a lot of drugs. Yes. And I admit them. And yes, I told a lot of, maybe, I talk too much. Listen how fast and how often I talk. I'm expressive in a full range of emotion, and I talk a lot. And I talk a lot about the past, and I mention a lot of information to people to educate as well.
Okay, when he was at the beginning, I thought he was on something, and then being bipolar, I was like, okay, you're on your medications. But the fact that he's aware of how fast he talks and that he's very expressive means I don't think he's actually on something that's not prescribed, which was kind of one of my original thoughts at the beginning of this. But the fact that he's aware, I makes me think that he's not on anything that he's not supposed to be on. And Mom, it is not cold outside. It is like 68 degrees outside. It is not cold outside. It is perfect. Perfect outside.
I thought I was doing is telling Carly all about these drugs and my conditions, you know, physical and mental. I'm 50 years old. So, you know, I'm on meds. I'm on blood pressure meds, and I'm on, you know, ibuprofen. And I'm an old man. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying.
Duncan, Idaho, thank you for the 5 more gifted Squid Pro Quo memberships. Let me see who they went to. Cynthia, Jen Woodall, Barber, Frederick, Puddletown. Heck. Oh, and Zach. Just Zach. Just Zach. Hey, Slug. Currently editing a video. Heckin' tired as. Yeah. Yeah, you can. We gotta talk because I can do lives all day. I like talking to people. I cannot record and edit a video to save my life. I am awful. So I am getting better at trying to pick out parts of my lives into videos, but I am awful at just staring at a camera, talking, and trying to edit stuff. I'm awful, 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 awful. I don't know how to do it. I suck at it. And yes, Zach, you are forced to be a member thanks to Duncan, Idaho. Good luck to you.
Maybe that's mental.
It's because you're an old man. That happens to me.
I don't know. Maybe that's aging disorder 3.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add or anything else you'd like to tell us? Maybe anything, if Carly were to see this, you want Carly to know from you?
I love Carly, and I would love to have tried to help her the best I could. I kept screaming in my head, you know, why couldn't you just have called me? Just pick up the phone and call. And, you know, I said, if you love me, you call me. She didn't pick up the phone, and you know, she circumvented her mother's controls. I'm in the IT industry, but I'm no hacker. You know, I've had a security focus in the past, but I definitely didn't teach her any of that stuff. But you know, Ashley was very smart. I wasn't considered unintelligent, and Carly was beyond us both. Brilliance, you know, multi-talented. You know,
Last question. Why do you think Carly did this? Why do you think Carly killed her mother?
I don't know, and trying to get into her head like that, like I have been in the dark for 6 months, has driven me crazy. You know, I don't want to get in her head because I don't believe we're the same. You know, I choose fire, evil is good. I taught her
That made no sense to me.
Genesis to David, but I don't want to, you know. I remember when she was 5, I was reading to her about the 10 Commandments and Exodus, and I said that lying was bad, and that you shouldn't tell a lie, and you know, you should tell the truth. And she started crying. And she separated when she was right before she turned 4. When she separated from me and Ash. She had suicidal ideation on record in Warren County. I wonder where that lady is. The guardian.
Ashley did or Carly did?
Carly.
Carly, okay.
So, and then this, as far as the Prozac, where they said that Ashley was immediately suicidal on it. Her high school sweetheart left her. This is what Ashley told me. You know, her new husband. Her high school sweetheart left her. It made her suicidal. She was on Prozac. She grabbed the whole bottle to kill herself and drank the whole thing and had to have her stomach pumped. Now, you know, I've never been suicidal. So
was the fact that Carly was suicidal at such a young age brought into the trial? Because I don't think it was. Thanks, Zach, for the $2 super chat. I can't afford a free membership. Oh, and thank you guys for all the support and even hitting the like button, subscribing. Like, this is a lot of work to balance, even though I do it from home and everybody looks at it as fun. It's a lot of work. a lot more than I gave other YouTubers credit for, until I started doing it. So I appreciate all the support that y'all give me. I could not do it without you. And thanks for always being patient with me and the fact that she comes first. And sometimes I got to, you know, yeah. So, I appreciate it. I am not the queen of YouTube, but I appreciate it.
I mean, I just wondered where her head was. I mean, she was colder than me. I was the cool dad. So I tried to balance Ashley's crazy with my crazy, and that didn't help. So, I mean, I've been sitting here in permanent reflection for 6 months. And like I said, that's almost like permanent psychosis sometimes. I mean, I went from phases of crying myself to sleep, like that's my baby, and she's sleeping on a steel bed, and then the last thing I heard from her is like, this is really hard, daddy. They're threatening me. One called me a C, one called me a N, one called me a M, all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Open dialogue. I'm just waiting for an opportunity where she approaches me and I see that she's looking for, I mean, it was during that case where the first thing she said to me when I talked to her in jail, she said, she said, I'm having a hard time remembering the past. She said that. Then she said, I spoke with Papa, and Papa, the first thing Papa said was, don't call your dad. He'll go to the media. I'm an IT security professional. Look for me on social media. This is against my will. The only reason I'm proactively doing this is because I love my daughter and I like to know where she's going to be. And I would like to know if there's a possibility at all of her being mentally rehabbed. And I would like to speak to anybody with a mental opinion, as a medical professional. I would like to be privy to all that information as well.
And when was the last time you spoke to Carly?
In jail. Before that, October 2022.
Okay, but in jail, there was only ever that one phone call, or was there like a series?
No, there were multiple. There were multiple video and text. There was suppressed and mediated.
So, Gail, there's something wrong with the way he's thinking. I personally think that his demeanor is side effects of medications for bipolar, and the fact that he said he's got a lot of other health problems. But the fact that he's aware of how verbose he is and how emotional he is makes me think that it's the medications that he's supposed to be taking and not something illegal. And hey, Taz, how are you? And Yoda, what did Yoda do? What did Yoda do? And Zach, thank you for another $2 super chat. Okay, I can. I just have commitment issues. I'm not even going to address the commitment issues because that's a you problem. But the fact that he's aware of how he's talking makes me think it's the bipolar and the bipolar medications. Because if he wasn't aware of it, so he has at least that self-awareness. And that's,
I could tell there was a lot of, I could tell Todd was running it or somebody. And Ashley was never communicated to me for Carly's benefit, which most reasonable, families that I know that divorce, and divorce is very common, and they intellectually, reasonably, logically sit down and discuss their children for the benefit of that child. And Ashley didn't do that with me, and that happens.
Well, thank you. And I guess my final question would be, do you think Carly should be able to receive parole? Do you think she should get a chance at a life outside of prison after what she's done?
I don't want to judge her. I hope she finds Jesus. I hope she can reconcile with what she did. I hope she can enjoy her life in the sun, and I hope I get to visit her sometime. And I hope we get to write and correspond. And I want to get into her brain, but very cautious right now, and there are several layers of this pending, and I just want to watch it play out.
All right, well, thank you so much. Yeah.
So there's a hello, ma'am. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. There we go. So there's a couple of things, opinions that I have. In Bridgett Todd's motion for a new trial, she mentions stuff about in the unedited or the unaired portion of this video, of this interview, is where he says she went to equine therapy when she was little, because she was hearing or having auditory hallucinations. This is the unedited version of that interview. I don't see where he said that. Did I miss that when I was getting her a snack? Did I miss when I was doing mama stuff where he said that she went to equine therapy? Because that was Bridgett Todd's whole basis of wanting to get a new trial, was this interview and something that wasn't aired on TV, because this is a TV station, WLBT3 in somewhere in Mississippi. And it was like, he didn't mention anything about that. And unless there was something we're missing, like it was after they stopped rolling the cameras that he mentioned it, but she said it was in the interview. And this is the unedited version, so there is no more. So did Bridgett Todd mishear something, or did she lie? I'm not really sure, but it makes me ask another question. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know. I knew there had to be a reason that they took this case, and they took it for pretty, if not free, very cheap. It's because Bridgett Todd already knew the victim, which makes me now understand why she takes every decision that the judge made so personal. So I understand it. But the way they made him sound, like, I was expecting to see like a junkie on the screen. He didn't look like a junkie. He looked like a dad who just can't get, like was treated like crap by the system. And his medical record used against him. Mental health issues are everywhere in this country. But it's when we don't get them treated. I don't think, Flash Fan, I don't think that's a conflict. I think it would be an issue if she had represented Carly. Or like she had represented, I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that's an issue. I mean, I don't know. It could be. But I mean, it was for some of, I don't know. Yeah, he seemed very vulnerable and very very good. I actually have to get going. I have somebody waiting outside to purchase something from me. Facebook Marketplace sale. So I will be back either later tonight or tomorrow with WTF Wednesday is tomorrow, and then also the WTF Wednesday, and then the Sarah Boone stuff. So I will definitely let you guys know on Twitter and on my community page when I'll be streaming. Y'all have a great night. I'm pretty sure I'll see you around the rest of the day in different chats. Bye, guys. Sorry to end so abruptly, but I didn't know that they were coming this soon. Bye.